Hi, everyone. I'm Cassidy. I'm at the Missouri Botanical Garden, and joining me virtually is Tyler Prestien. He's a horticulturist with the Kemper Center for Home Gardening, and the area that he's in charge of is the children's garden. So Tyler's going to take us on a little tour while he is safely at home, and um, I'll flip the camera here. Here we go. So Tyler, we're in this entryway here to the children's garden, and this is the first time you're seeing all the tulips and other bulbs that you planted in the fall. Is that right?
It is, yeah. Planted it around my birthday, November 12th last fall. So it's looking good. I kind of feel cheated that I'm not there, so I think I'll have to go ahead and order the same ones for next year so I can see it in person.
Is that, do you know what types of tulips? And I see some grape hyacinth in here as well.
Yeah, I think there are 3 different cultivars of tulips. The purple ones are Queen of the Night. I think the orange and the salmon color ones would have been like the Sherpay, Tulipa Sherpay. And then the tall, dark purple bulbs, that's Fritillaria persica. And there should be about 1,200 little blue grape hyacinths in there, the Muscari armeniacum.
Did you say 1,200?
Yeah. Yeah, we really packed the bulbs in tight this year. And then in the space in the front where there's nothing, we were gonna have a mix of a lot of edible things, different kales, beets, along with some flowering things, just for the show, like alyssum and Dusty Miller. I think there's some lettuce supposed to go in there too, but I guess we'll find out next year. Just replant it.
So this was bulbs were planted in the fall, and then you had some annuals that were going to go in the rest of the space.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, and then all of those spring plants usually go until May 1st, and then I know it's always a sad day for people as we're ripping it out, but yeah, that first week in May, that's when I typically put in the summer annuals.
Seems like that may get delayed a bit as well this year.
Yeah, a little bit, but hey, I guess we'll be planting bigger plants then. But
and we're walking through. This is a lot of summer blooming Missouri natives that you take care of.
Everything in front of the plant lab are Missouri native plants. It's supposed to be more of like an organized kind of prairie. Yeah.
Just a little color here.
Oh yeah, that's one of the shining blue stars, Amsonia. Yeah. So I think that bed there's pretty nice. It's there's quite a few ornamental native grasses, and they're all shorter grasses. It's a little more homeowner friendly. And then, yeah, there would have been a nice display of containers by the Edward Jones Hall, but
alas.
Yep.
We'll go through into the children's garden here. I know last week they're just starting to maybe get a little bit past peak and have the foliage come out, but the red buds in here just kind of show-stopping.
Yeah, and I noticed you walked past some serviceberry, and also right there on your right in the little cave pockets are some native That's a native yarrow, and then there's also some native opuntia, the prickly pear to Missouri. Those are kind of neat. In the winter, they get all wrinkly, but they start plumping up and look healthy again now that it's warmer and sunnier.
And we have this too. This is in full flower right now. The pawpaw.
Yeah, fun little flower, and the fruits seem to be a favorite for raccoons. They're
And
always
stuff.
climbing up the trees. Yeah, yeah.
I've heard these are supposed to smell like to attract flies, and I'm not catching much of an odor. Have you ever noticed a sort of a foul smell on these?
I can't say I have, but yeah, I do see quite a few things buzzing around them. So whatever it's doing, it's working. Yeah, and then right here, I had a lot of the same tulips as the front, but then I added in that orange um, Fritillaria imperialis, which is kind of an interesting, really interesting flower. And instead of the blue grape hyacinths, we have the white one, Muscari album.
I'll see if I can walk hunched over here and give you a flyby.
Looking good.
Where should we go next?
Maybe just go down that path and kind of walk in that area. There's a whole bunch of spring ephemerals that might be in bloom. Yeah, the yellow ones are the celandine poppies. There's another yellow one that's the Pachyra or ground sorrel, I guess. Yeah, Pachyra obovata. That small tree there on your left is a red buckeye. If I'm not mistaken, the state champion for that tree is somewhere around the jewel box at Forest Park.
Oh yeah, in here I was looking for some of the blooms.
Yeah.
There are a few there. I don't know how easy that is to see.
Yeah, that little patch. Yeah, oh, perfect. I was going to say usually there's some dabs of purple in there with the wild geraniums. Nice.
Lots of color over here.
I don't know if it's still in bloom, but if you made a left right here and kind of went more towards the covered bridge, there might be this blue and white little thing blooming, blue-eyed Marys.
You said,
Usually
am I
quite.
going in am I going in the right direction or the wrong direction?
Yeah, just keep going and to your left. If you veer to your left, and then yeah, I think I see them. The
Oh
blue and
yeah.
white.
Oh, yeah. There's a hard to miss one.
Yeah. Yes. So those are neat. Those are an annual. They'll drop their seeds when they're done, and then they disappear in the summer as it heats up. But then in the fall, new leaves will emerge, and you'll just have kind of like a subtle green ground cover throughout the winter until the spring when they bloom. But
And there's bluebells.
bluebells, yeah, there's some of the white bluebells in there too. They always seem to have a true white flowers.
I don't.
So this area is kind of neat. We collected a lot of these seeds from the nature reserve, and it's kind of like just a small representation of the many acres that they have at the nature reserve. So next year, everyone will have to check this little garden out on a bigger scale out at Shaw.
I think this is the first of the native columbine I've actually seen in bloom this year.
Very nice. Yeah, the ones in my backyard, they're not that quite far along yet.
Same here. General store is empty. Not
Normally
something
buzzing with kids.
Exactly. My child among them.
Oh yeah, those are they're pretty young, but it's a type of aronia or chokeberry. Nice little white flowers, and then they get black berries, and then red leaves in the fall. Nice little shrub. All of this area here and to your behind you, it's all pretty new plantings. We redid that last spring, and that one's a Jacob's ladder, Pollinaria. All the little beds in this area, they're coordinated to attract a specific insect. I forget which is which now, but one of them would attract bees, one for hummingbirds, one for wasps, one for flies and beetles. Yeah. So this is a nice little ground cover, Rose verbena, glandularia. It's an extremely long blooming plant. It looks best right now, but there'll be little moments throughout the summer and the fall, and maybe sometimes even in December when it's weird, you'll have a couple flowers here and there. So it just keeps going and going.
And is that what I'm smelling? I feel like I'm picking up a really nice scent.
It must be, yeah. Or right next to it, we have our native heucheras. Our native ones are just green. We don't have the fancy purple or red or things like that, but the flower spikes are kind of an interesting statement.
That's these.
Yeah. Yeah, but I bet the scent is probably the rose verbena.
And so, what is it that you would normally be doing horticulturally in the children's garden at this time of year?
Right now, it's kind of like that perfect time of the year where you can just touch up on some of your annual plantings, and then I'm just preparing for the summer plantings. But as soon as May 1st hits, unfortunately, it seems to be when all the weeds come. So May 1st is normally when I start to be frantically weeding and then planting the summer annuals. And then after the summer annuals are in, that's when I start to strategically kind of cut back some of the prairie plants, so the prairie isn't as floppy as the summer goes on. I can kind of reduce the height of the prairie and some of the native plants.
He looks like he's been really going to town with some pollen.
Dirty little guy.
And so, if I may ask, what is it that what sort of tasks are you doing from home that you wouldn't normally have the time to do?
Yeah, we've been talking about it for years. A lot of the pictures on the plant finder. So whenever you're searching for plants, Usually the Missouri Botanical Garden is one of the top things that pops up on a search engine, and you click on it, and that's the plant finder. So a lot of those pictures were taken years ago, and the resolution hasn't been so good. So I've been taking, I think I'm up to maybe 80 or so native plants in my backyard and updating those pictures. Working ahead on some annual designs. So next spring, that's designed, and the plants are entered into our greenhouse database. Same for summer 2021. And now that I have the time, I guess I'll start spring 2022 here shortly. Yeah, so that shrub in front of you, the white one, that's another beautiful shrub. I like to think it's like a fondue fountain, vase shape. It's just spilling down. It's a Alabama snow wreath, or Niviusa, but it is a native shrub to Missouri. Oh yeah, no, that's some type of a horse chestnut hybrid. I forget which one, but yeah, really, really big flowers. Along with our native dogwood, Cornus Florida. I think I planted that maybe 4 years ago.
Yeah, it seems like the dogwoods are just kind of getting ready to fill in all the way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And this is the little vegetable garden back here that doesn't have too much in it at this point.
Not much going. Yeah, that the education and the interpretation department take care of that, so it'll be filled with vegetables at some point. Then this area looks really wild, but that's a nice kind of woodland edge prairie there.
And since this is a native garden, spring is fairly early for a lot of Missouri natives, right? Isn't it sort of later summer and into the fall that is sort of the showiest time for native plants? Or
For sure. Yeah, it seems like in the spring, the things that are in bloom are your woodland plants and spring ephemerals, some trees. Oh, that's a black haw viburnum getting ready to open. And then, yeah, a lot of our prairie plants in Missouri, they start blooming in the summer and fall once it heats up.
I'll take everybody up the stairs here. Oh, this is just like if I were here with my kids. I'm still getting lost.
You're getting your steps in today. Well, this is good. Normally, I don't talk about plants to adults in the children's garden. They always have to ask, how do I get out of here, or where's the restrooms?
And one of the reasons I wanted to come up here was just to kind of get into the canopy a bit for these red buds.
I think that's always my favorite time for the redbuds, when they're just past their peak and you see a little hint of green from the leaves emerging.
Yeah, there's a really nice one over here that's showing, I think, exactly what you're talking about. Hopefully, I don't know how well it's showing up. Maybe I'll There we go.
Yeah. Tiny little heart-shaped leaves. It's looking pretty good in there, I think. I miss it.
Isn't that one of the benefits of natives is that they can be a little low maintenance if needed?
For sure. Yeah, once you get them going, you can typically go on your 2-week vacation and come back home and everything's still alive. But they're certainly not maintenance free. They are there's quite a bit of work involved, just like any garden. If you want to make it look tidy and like a botanical garden, but in the children's garden, a lot of the plants are allowed to do more of their wild, natural things.
Um, oh, is it not showing my camera anymore?
Looks like it's frozen on my end. I'm looking at some ferns down on the ground.
Uh, well, since I can't turn the camera back on myself, I'll just wrap this up by thanking you for joining us virtually to show us what's happening in the children's garden, and hopefully you'll be able to come back soon and keep it looking as nice as you always do.
I look forward to it. Yeah, and thanks for showing me how my home away from home's looking.